Welcome to the Real Film Nerds Podcast.
Merry Hanukkah, listeners, and welcome to the Real Film Nerds Podcast. My name is Matt, one of your two hosts of this delightful, incredible 199th episode of the pod. With me, my good buddy, who has stuck out through almost all of them. But I think I've been the only one here for all of them, but that's not true because you did one or two by yourself, didn't you, Mike?
I did, Matt. And isn't it Happy Hanukkah, not Merry Hanukkah?
Well, that's fine, but I'm trying to change it up, Mike. Like how last week I said Merry Holidays instead of Happy Holidays.
Oh, okay. All right. That's cute, Matt. You're doing good.
Thank you for the encouragement, Mike. I really need it at this time of year because, everyone knows that the suicide rates around holidays skyrocket, especially Christmas, because we're all alone more than we ever have been.
Oh, well, that was a wonderful way to start the podcast, Matt. Bring him up on a high note.
That's what I do. I bring you up and then immediately tear you down. Immediately.
Okay. Well, Matt, what are we talking about today?
Well, Mike, we are continuing our unnamed Christmas celebration or holiday celebration or winter holiday. I don't know. What are we calling this thing we're doing now?
Should we call it movies around snow time?
Movies around snow time? That's pretty terrible.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. That's the first thing that came to the top of my head. I don't know. I knew you were going to ask me, and I had no idea.
And I'm the one that's twisted.
What? I was trying to come up with something funny and light. I don't know. The snow plows are ringing through the streets time.
Well, we'll have to get someone to fix it for us. I mean, we already have Harvest Horror Fest. I was thinking something with H, like, I don't know, Holiday Horror Fest, but that doesn't work because we're not watching horror movies.
Well, we could. There's plenty of holiday horror movies like Krampus and Black Christmas. I think there's like 3 Black Christmases, and yeah, there's definitely some horror Christmas movies.
Well, great. So we'll have 1 month of all holiday horror Christmas movies, and then what are we going to do for the other years? Because this podcast is never going to end. You and I are going to be 112 still recording this podcast for our 3 amazing listeners.
Yeah, I don't know, man. We'll have to think about it, Matt. We'll have to think about it kind of hard because something starts with H, and we don't want to do holiday, right? Like we don't
have to do H. We can do whatever.
Oh, okay.
It's our podcast,
right.
Mike. No one controls us or tells us what to do.
Oh, okay. Snowflakes of Joy movies.
Wow. Snowflakes of joy. So what about the snowflakes that are not full of joy, but they're still snowflakes, and every single snowflake is precious, Mike?
Every snowflake is precious, man. They're all unique. Wasn't there a movie that talked about like the way that snowflakes are formed and how they're all unique?
I don't know. You're the one that watches movies. I just watch TV.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's okay. It was probably like a Mythbusters or something around the holidays.
Well, okay, Mike. So we will continue, but for those of you that are listening and are smarter than us and creative, send us your suggestions of what we should call our holiday movie extravaganza thingamabobber that we're going to start doing every year until we run out of Christmas movies in 2 years. So to kick it off, we have a new one. It's from our sponsor-ish people, I guess. They just like to help us out by giving us free movies to give away, and in turn, we talk about their movie, which we will get to later because we do have another giveaway. But the movie we're reviewing today was not our giveaway, and that is the latest film from Mel Gibson called Fatman. Mike, do your thing, and let's see if you can do it correctly. Don't get nervous. You can do it, Mike. I believe in you.
All right, man. I'll take that encouragement and I'll soak it in, and hopefully I don't screw up these names. This was directed and written by Esham Nelms and Ian Nelms. They're fraternal twins. And this is starring Mel Gibson, Walton Goggins, Marianne Jean-Baptiste, and Chance Hurstfield. And this is about a rowdy, unorthodox Santa Claus is fighting to save his declining business. Meanwhile, Billy, a neglected and precocious 12-year-old, hires a hitman to kill Santa after receiving a lump of coal in his stocking.
Question.
Answer?
How many times did you read that over? Because you hit it out of the park, Mike. You prepared for this podcast. I cannot believe it.
Oh, thank you, Matt. Woo! I guess that's it. I'm out.
Amazing. Mic drop. He's out. All right. Done. Fatman. Done. Podcast done.
Yeah, I guess we have to talk about the movie, though.
Dude.
But other than that, I'm done.
Come on. We got to talk about this movie, Mike. You know you liked it. Admit it. It's a 5 out of 5 reels for Mysterious Mike Talent.
So about that, Matt. I liked aspects of it. It's is definitely an interesting take on the Santa Claus. I don't know. I guess world or fairy tale. But
wait, hold on. Santa Claus is not real. It's a fairy tale.
Yeah.
Well, then who's the fat guy that always comes into my house on Christmas and eats all my cookies and leaves me shit behind?
Oh, I think that's your neighbor.
Oh. God damn it. I got to really start locking my doors because I don't have a chimney. Damn it, Daniel. Why? You're a good neighbor, but why?
Well, you just got to turn on your Alexa alarm, man. Be like, Alexa, guard these cookies.
Fair enough. I'll do that from here on out. I got that. Because, I mean, those are my cookies. I'm not leaving them out. And everybody knows milk tastes better when you don't refrigerate it.
Yes, that's 100% true. I don't know. I've heard of some children leaving Santa a beer and cookies.
Those are the appropriate children. Those are the ones that are raised right by their parents.
Okay, man.
A little Boilermaker, you know, a beer and a shot of bourbon, just sitting there next to the cookies.
Nice. Yeah. So, Matt, I think the trailer misled me a little bit on this, Matt. That's why I was a little bit disappointed. It gave me the idea that there was going to be quite a bit of action, kind of, you know, like, and it just, in my opinion, it wasn't as much as I was expecting. So I got a little bit misled by the trailer.
We had a good solid 30 minutes of action, but yeah, the first hour had next to no action. It had some, but not a lot. The thing that I thought we were going to get more of, and there is a bit of it, but I thought there was going to be a lot more, especially the premise of this film was comedy. I thought there was going to be a lot more laughs in it, and there were some, but it wasn't like over-the-top laughs. It was a pretty serious-ish film, honestly.
It was serious for most of the movie. You know, it was like a struggling business, looking at Santa Claus as a businessman, and the business is having a tough time, and you're like, man, it's kind of like parallels reality, right? But that was an interesting way of doing it, I thought. Of, you know, we can barely pay the electric bill.
Which, again, the premise is great. It's funny. But the humor just wasn't there as much as I wanted it to be. I wanted more. But again, I enjoyed myself. I thought this was an interesting film.
Yeah, Matt, what did you think of the little kid in this? Chance. I'm trying to think of his character. Billy's character.
He was awful. He was really mean and terrible, especially to his staff. And then how he was staking money from his grandmother that basically is, you know, locked up to her room. I think that was kind of messed up. no wonder, he got a lump of coal. I mean, come on.
Yeah, yeah. No, I, I just felt the acting was kind of weird. Like it wasn't. I didn't believe the kid at all. He just seemed like he was acting, and I didn't like it. I don't know. It just came off kind of like forced and weird to me.
Well, Mike, you do know he is in another movie that we reviewed here on this podcast.
Ah, yes, he is. He was in Good Boys.
Yep, 2019's Good Boys. He was Atticus.
Okay, I'm trying to think of which one was that. Well, that wasn't the one that had the drone fly. No, because that was the other kid. No, yep, never mind.
No, he wasn't one of the main characters. No.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. He wasn't great. He needs some work, that's for sure. But again, he's a kid. You can't tear him apart too much. I mean, he's only spent a very small amount of time on this earth, and he's being thrown into a position of acting, which some kids take to it naturally and some don't. So
yeah, for sure, man, for sure. Man, Walton Goggins, man, I love him. He's been in so many good things lately. I feel like his career is just taken off.
Dude, his career has been on fire for a while. I was talking with my girlfriend Stacy about it because she's not a fan of Walton Goggins at all. She thinks he looks creepy and all this other stuff, and I'm like, yeah, he's a perfect character actor. He's great. And I was telling her about one of the creepiest roles that I ever thought he played was from Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, yeah, dude, that was a weird role. I actually was going to bring that up, man.
But he hit it out of the park. It's one of the weirdest, most disturbing roles I've ever seen in my life, but he did a wonderful job.
He did hit it out of the park. Would you call it, was he a trainee, or what would you call him? I don't know. He had an amazing role. He did a really good job in that.
Well, as I was explaining it to Stacy, he's a tranny. He's a transsexual who's in a committed relationship or becomes a committed relationship with one of the, not main characters, but one of the main characters of the gang. But the main character of the gang denies that he's a transsexual and says he's a woman. And Walton Goggins' character does the same thing. It's really unique. It's really, really unique how they went about it. And Walton Goggins, I think, did really well with it. I don't know if I could have done that for sure.
Yeah, I also really liked him on Justified because I really like Justified. That was a fun show.
That's one that's still on my queue that I have not gotten through a whole lot. I know you love those almost like cops and robbers kind of shows, though, Mike.
It is kind of a cops and robbers, or maybe a more modern day kind of Western set in like the hills of Kentucky.
Well, and you like Timothy Oliphant, don't you? You're a big fan of his?
Yeah. No, I do like him. He's a good actor, and he was perfect for that role in Justified.
Again, you need to go back and watch Deadwood.
I know, I do.
He is amazing in Deadwood because, again, he's cast as his typical role of the sheriff, And then also the very first episode of The Mandalorian this year, he was cast in there again as a sheriff. So he gets typecast just a smidge.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Mike, put your iPad down, Mike. Mike, put it down.
No, I'm not. I'm fine.
Okay. All right. Well, all right, Mike. I think we're at the point where we need to discuss that thing in your hand.
Ah, yes, Matt. That was a wonderful segue. So, Matt, what are you drinking for this episode?
I'm finishing up my birthday beers or gift beers. It is a Pilsner cold fermented lager from Ninkasi Brewing Company out of Eugene, Oregon. And I have to say, this is not my favorite. This is a Mike beer. This is almost on the edge of a IPA. It's very hoppy.
Oh, no.
So, speaking of hoppiness and Mike's beer, I think we should legally just get it changed from IPA to MPA.
I don't think
Mike's
that's...
Pale Ale.
That'd be fun. But anyway, so I got an early Christmas present. A friend came visiting from out of town and brought me a case of different beers, a variety pack. And this one is a juicy IPA from Door County Brewing Company.
Mike, who said you're allowed to have other friends than me?
I didn't know there was a rule, man. Is there a rule? Like, do I have to unfriend everybody on Facebook?
Yes, I think you do.
Oh, no, man. My ring of 5 is going down to 4.
Your 5 is down to 4. How would you even know you have 5? Because you never log into the Mysterious Mike Talent Facebook page. And I know because I also have it on my stuff.
Well, I'm sorry. I don't know, man. I don't really Facebook. People don't need to know what I'm doing. Plus, what am I doing these days? I just sit at home, work, walk the dog. My most exciting part of the day is walking the dog.
And changing diapers and drinking an IPA.
Well, changing the diapers isn't too exciting.
You sure? You know you like it.
Well, I mean, I guess lately it's been kind of cold, so when you expose the baby to some cold, sometimes there's a reflex of just letting it go.
So you get peed on a lot. Wonderful.
I have been peed on quite a bit.
Mike, I don't know if you should be talking about that publicly.
Oh, well, it's not like that.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, it's no showers of golden.
Mags, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mags. If you listen to this, I'm sorry. Mike did it, not me.
You were leading
I started
me.
it.
You were leading me in.
I know. I started it. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. Fine. Well, speaking of box office gold, huh?
Ooh, yeah. There you go.
I was trying to figure out how I could do this from Golden Showers to MCU. That's a tough one, Mike. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's not usually something you have to lead from.
No, not usually. No, that's another podcast I do.
Oh, man. Okay.
It's a video podcast.
Nice. Do they pay you by the minute?
They do. And I got to go,
Nice.
Thank you for your donation. Thank you, big boy 37. It's terrible.
Okay,
I'm stopping.
well.
Mike, I'm stopping this. I'm stopping it. It's getting out of control. All right. Okay, so Mike, how does Fatman relate to the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Well, we've been talking his name a little bit just a second ago, but Walton Goggins was in Ant-Man versus and Wasp. Or I almost said versus. Ant-Man and Wasp. He played the character Sonny Birch.
Which I have to say was not his best character. But that wasn't a very good character at all. I mean, didn't matter who played him.
It was barely in it, really. But he was in it.
So we're good. We got a main character. I guess you would say a villain from Fatman.
Yeah, and a villain from Ant-Man and Wasp.
He does play a lot of villains, that's for sure.
He might be a little bit kind of typecast.
Well, not all the time, but sometimes. I mean, he wasn't a villain in Sons of Anarchy. And
No, he wasn't.
yeah,
he wasn't.
He wasn't a villain in Hateful Eight.
Right. Yeah, and I guess in Justified, I don't know if he's a villain as much as, well, I don't know. He's on the fringe.
Well, all right, Mike. Should I do our giveaway now, or should we do some spoilers? Which way you want to go here?
Let's do the giveaway, man. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, Mike. So from our good friends at Paramount Pictures, once again, we have a little film starring a person I think you've heard of, Mr. Tommy Lee Jones.
Cool.
this movie's called Wander. It also stars Aaron Eckhart and Catherine Winnick, and also Heather Graham. So a pretty good cast there. Have you watched the trailer for it?
I have not yet, Matt. What's this one about?
How dare you, Mike? It is a thriller. This is not a comedy. It's your typical, Tommy Lee Jones role. I think he mostly does thrillers. He does some, more interesting roles, but a lot of times he does thrillers like, No Country for Old Men. I would say that was probably a thriller.
Yeah, that was like a thriller. But I mean, what about action adventure like Men in Black, man?
Yeah.
One of my favorite alien movies. I mean, it's great.
Yeah, Men in Black is pretty good. Definitely. But also, I mean, I would put like Fugitive as a thriller.
Yeah, Fugitive.
And that was a good movie.
Sure.
That was great. Had, my boy Harrison Ford in it.
Heck yeah.
But anyways, all right. So here's a little synopsis for Wander before I get into the read I need to do. But here we go. After getting hired to probe a suspicious death in the small town of Wander, a mentally unstable private investigator becomes convinced the case is linked to the same conspiracy cover-up that caused the death of his daughter. So, all right, here is the read since Mike isn't going to respond to that. He's Googling.
Oh, well, I was reading about the movie.
Oh, you're reading about the movie? Okay, well, we'll allow it. We'll allow it. All right, here we go. Aaron Eckhart and Academy Award winner Tommy Lee Jones star in the edge of your seat thriller Wander, now available on digital and on demand. When a PI with a troubled past is hired to investigate a suspicious death in the town of Wander, he becomes convinced the case is linked to the same conspiracy cover-up that caused the death of his daughter. You can buy or rent Wander and watch it tonight. It is rated R, and again, it is from our friends over at Paramount Pictures. It's a good one, man. Seriously, sit down and watch the trailer. I haven't seen the movie. I'm going to have to buy it if I want to watch it, but the trailer looks incredible. It's twisty, it's bendy, it's not your typical thriller from what it looks like to me, but again, I don't know. I'm just going off the trailer. So, Mike, I announced it on the radio this morning that I really liked our question for last week, so I'm just going to keep it going too. If you want to be entered in our drawing for if you want to be entered in our drawing to win a digital download copy of Wander, all you have to do is email us and tell us what your favorite Christmas movie is or holiday movie.
Be sure to do that because, Matt, this has a really good cast. I was just looking at it while you were talking about it, and it looks great.
Yeah, it looks like a really, really good one. Again, it's so crazy, man, that these are all movies we would be going and watching in the theaters, and instead we're sitting at home and watching them. But if you are okay with going to the theater, it looks like this one is in the theater as well. So why not go check it out?
I hope people still go to the theater after this is all done and gone, Matt.
Oh no, dude! I don't even want to bring up what Warner Brothers is doing. I really don't.
Yeah, dude. I was gonna bring it up, Matt. I was gonna bring it up. What do you think about that? What do you think? Like, it was one thing to just do Wonder Woman 1984, but
their entire lineup,
all their lineup. That's pretty crazy. It's really, I don't know, dude. I was talking with Stacy's dad about it, who was in the industry many years ago, and he was saying he thinks this is the first nail in the coffin. And this is a guy that's been to the Academy Awards and has worked on movies. And I just it sucks. I hate to hear or even think that, but we've been talking about it all year since this pandemic has come on, that this might be the end of movie theaters. And I really am glad that I bought that 65-inch TV. I wish I could have afforded bigger. I wish I could have my own movie theater room. I would totally be that person that has this tiny little shit house and then has a movie theater. That's the dream. Okay, Matt. So it's not owning the house. It's owning a shanty with a very plush, awesome movie theater room.
Yeah. Well, and an airfield. I wouldn't mind having my own airfield so I don't have to drive. I just walk out my back door and fly an airplane.
All right, man. I think this is doable, man. All you have to do is we'll just go get you one of those prefabby buildings that you buy. You know, you see them advertised all the time online. We'll get you one of those. We'll lay a foundation, and we'll make half of that your theater room, and then the rest is your house. So you'll have like a teeny kitchen and a teeny living room, and it'll be great. It'll be wonderful. And then outside you can have some land, man. We'll get you some land, and you'll have your little flying field.
Now, you're not talking about like a shipping container home?
No. Well, I mean, you could do that. I mean, I've watched way too much HGTV, so I've seen a lot of them shipping containers turned into living spaces, and I don't know. I feel like 2 of them together is okay, but you really need like 3 to 4 to really get something kind of cool looking.
Well, see, and now that's getting too spendy.
Oh, okay. That's the line right there.
Yeah.
4 shipping containers. Got it. So we'll stick to 3.
Well, it takes away from the theater.
Right. For sure. You're totally right, Matt. I wasn't thinking about that.
All right, Mike. So what do we want to spoil about Fatman, or do we want to spoil anything? Because you can't really spoil anything. We pretty much talked about the movie almost in its entirety until the end, which is I talked about it again this morning on the radio, and I tried not to spoil it, but the assassin does find Santa Claus. He does find him, and he is not in the North Pole. That's as far as I went.
All right. Yeah, that's fine, Matt. I think we should leave this one that if you're interested in watching this movie, you should watch it and see how it ends. I thought it had a pretty creative ending, somewhat predictable, but still kind of creative. For a second, I was misled in some different directions.
Well, especially since... Okay, I'm just going to stop because there's no way I can say it without ruining
Right.
it. Like, honestly, there isn't.
Okay. All right. So you're stopping. All right. Matt, what are we going to do next week?
Well, Mike, is it your pick for next week or is it my pick? I think I don't know. I don't think it matters because we're both coming to agreements on what movies we're going to watch. So it's not really your pick or my pick, but we're going to do the classic Bill Murray Christmas comedy, the retelling of the modern day Scrooged. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of Scrooge, but it's Scrooged with a D, with Bill Murray and lots of other comedians from Saturday Night Live.
I'm looking forward to reviewing this one. I think I've watched this movie most Christmas time periods for quite a while, and it'll be fun to watch it again. I enjoy watching all these movies, just like I wish I could have Die Hard on a loop, but I just can't. Matt, would you watch Die Hard every day?
I don't know about every day. I'd probably pepper a little Deadpool in there, maybe a little Guardians and some Star Wars. But yeah, Die Hard's all right. And last year, was it last year the first year they did it, or was the year before? That channel that used to be the man-oriented channel. You remember?
The one that ran like the Man Show and stuff? Or
That's
no?
what it was. No.
Oh, Spike. Yeah,
Man Show
yeah.
was on Comedy Central. Spike. Spike last year, I think it was still Spike back then, did 24 hours of Die Hard to combat the 24 hours of A Christmas Story. I was like, yes.
Dude, that's awesome. Spike isn't on anymore? I mean, I don't have cable. It's not Spike anymore?
No, it's now the Paramount Network, I think.
Oh. Does it still have all the just man stuff, or is it more just a lot of like movies and different things that Paramount has produced?
It's a lot more movies. It's more original shows. Like, did you ever watch Oh, geez, great. Now I'm drawing a blank. Waco. Did you ever watch the show Waco based on that? Did you watch that?
Yes. I recently watched that. It's on Netflix, and that was fantastic. That was really well
That
done.
was the very first show Paramount Network put out. That was their kind of launching, thing to get people interested in the new channel. And I watched it as it aired. I watched it every week, and that was a really good show. The one that people really enjoy watching right now, I have not watched a lick of it though, is a Yellowstone.
Oh, I've heard about Yellowstone. Okay, I haven't seen it, but I heard it was really good.
Yeah, they're in like season 2 or season 3 of it. It's really good from what I've heard, but I have not had a chance to watch it.
And then Matt, have you seen that show Long? Was it Longmire?
No, I have not watched Longmire. I know about it, but I have not watched it. I think that's USA, isn't it?
I don't. Yeah, I think it might be USA. That was pretty good too, man. I like that. I haven't seen all the seasons, but that was pretty good.
So, all right, Mike. Well, how many reels do you give Fatman?
I'm gonna give Fatman 3 out of 5 reels. I like the creativity of the different approach of Kris Kringle and crew. So I kind of like that.
Well, Mike, I clearly am back to normal. I give it 4 out of 5. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I just wish there was a little bit more comedy in it. And yeah, without spoiling it, yeah.
All right, dude. No, it's totally cool. Totally cool. We're back to good form. Not agreeing. Yes.
Not agreeing. No, we're back to me being too nice and you being normal. Well, actually, you're kind of being nice for you. I mean, it wasn't a 2 or a 2.5 or a 1. So 3.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, no, there are quite a bit of aspects I liked of the movie. It was just, there was a few things, I was just expecting a few things differently. It was just purely opinion. Like, nothing, the movie was pretty well done overall, I'd say.
Yeah, it was shot well. It was acted well for the most part. The story was interesting. I know you wish there was more action. I wish there was more comedy. That about sums it up, I guess.
Matt, this is a good one. Do you think this will become a new Christmas classic?
That's kind of tough since it's rated R. There's not a whole lot of movies that have a higher than like PG or even PG-13 rating that become Christmas classics.
Well,
Die Hard, though.
Yeah. Die Hard. Well, another one that comes to mind just off the top of my head is Bad Santa.
Yeah, but I don't know if I would call that a classic because the only channel that ever airs that is Comedy Central because they can get away with a little bit better, more vulgar language.
But do you think it's a Christmas, like, to me, I feel like it is because it was so different and I don't know. When it first came out, there's so much controversy, but, years pass by and no one remembers anything. So, I don't know. I like that movie. I thought it was very funny. I happened to work at the movie theater when it came out, and man, did we give out a lot of refunds.
Oh, dude, that's going to have to be put on our list for either this year or next year. It'll probably have to be next year because we pretty much have ours already stated on what we're doing. But yeah, no, I consider the original Bad Santa a Christmas classic. I don't think it needed a sequel, but they made one anyways. And it was okay. It was fine. But is Fatman going to become a Christmas classic? Time will tell because it wasn't in the theaters. Well, I mean, it might be in the theaters now, but how do we know? What's the buzz about it? What are people talking about it? I mean, most of the people I work with didn't even know about it until I told them about it. And they're like, oh, that sounds interesting. I might have to check that out.
Yeah, I feel like we've lost a lot of the advertising that we used to see for all the trailers. I know all these trailers are out there, and there's still plenty of ways to get the movie trailers, but one of the ways that I saw the movies was at the movies, and we kind of lost that. And I mean, I realize Matt and we're a little bit different case. When you're going to see a movie every week, we see the same trailers over and over again. But the average person, they don't do that all the time. So those 4 or 5 trailers that they show you might actually affect whether the movie's known about or anything, like even if you saw it, you could be a little bit more familiar with it and maybe you would watch it later on, even if it was a rental or something,
Well, and it's also doesn't help that a lot of people don't watch TV anymore. I don't watch TV on a consistent basis. I have a handful of shows I usually watch and record. Not a whole lot of commercials. If there are commercials, I'm usually fast forwarding through it. I know a lot of people on live sports watch the commercials on that because you don't really have a choice. It's live, but you don't see a whole lot of movies during sports games to begin with because that's not really the kind of people that watch a lot of sports don't typically watch a lot of movies.
Yeah, you're right. Usually they're advertising for food and restaurant, beer and car insurance and things like that. I guess it's a different target. They're not trying to target people to go watch the movies for sure.
Yeah, so it's I don't want to say it's a perfect storm because it's not a perfect storm. It's just kind of a wreck that movies are desperately falling off the map right now unless it's on Netflix or unless someone, talks about it word of mouth. So that's one thing. If you see one of these movies, especially one of our giveaways or something we review that you didn't know about, be it on Netflix, Amazon, whatever, tell your friends if they're looking for something to watch. Tell them, get these movies out there because if they start dying off, then we're not going to have anything.
Yeah, that's true, Matt. That's definitely true. I think sometimes we've found some gems here, looking through the different streaming opportunities, but I tell people we need the movies to survive. If possible, try and go to the theater. I know the holidays, everything's kind of shutting down again in a lot of places, but man, if you live in a place and you're not, at high risk, try and go see a movie.
Well, just think about it, Mike. I mean, where would we be right now with all this time we're having to spend at home, me specifically spending alone? Where would we be without all these movies and without all this entertainment? It would be way worse. Way, way worse. So we got to be grateful and thankful for what we do have and what they are producing, even in this time of horribleness.
Yeah, I mean, the internet is an amazing thing. Matt and I have been cheerleaders for the internet since we were in middle school. And boy, it's just amazing to see how it's evolved.
Well, yeah, and think about it. If we didn't have it and this pandemic was going on, imagine how much worse that would be. You would have to read a book, Mike. A book!
Yeah, I know. Like a thing that has print and paper on it. I mean, isn't that a waste of paper?
It is. It's a waste of trees. So, all right, Mike. Well, I think that is it for me. We have rambled on enough about not the Fatman, but they are interesting topics, and it's hard not to talk about these things, especially when we're going on almost a year of this pandemic starting, and we're still sitting here talking about it and how much it's affecting our daily lives and our industries and our jobs and everything else. So it's a shitty topic, but it's on everyone's head. So that's why we try to talk about these fun movies. So Mike, go ahead. Do your thing, sir.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for listening, and make sure to catch us on the socials, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and, try and go out and see a movie if you're not at high risk, or stream one of the movies we reviewed or any other movie, and if you like it, hit us up. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thank you for listening to The Real Film Nerds. Now, don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Real Film Nerds. Now, go out and catch a movie.
Good morning, Magic 99.1. Is this my pal, Matt Hinshaw from the Real Film Nerds podcast?
You know it is.
I know it is. How you doing, Maddie?
I'm living the dream. How are you doing this morning, Lisa?
I'm not doing bad. That is a fact.
I'm just disappointed that the number 4 hoarded things, not movies.
It was books. Does that surprise you?
No, because
No.
I have a lot of books.
Yeah.
But I'm a weirdo. The majority of my family doesn't hoard books. My mom does, but
Yeah.
I have quite a few. I like reading.
Very nice. Hey, we should shout out to your mom. You say she listens to Magic, right?
She does. She listens every day, and
Aw.
she doesn't even live in Pesquet.
Well, tell her I love her. I should tell her myself. I love you, Mom.
Yeah, there you go. That's perfect.
Awesome, Matt. What are we going to be talking about this morning?
So, even though it's kind of one of our sponsors from Paramount Pictures, we're talking about the new Mel Gibson movie called Fatman.
Mel Gibson's new movie, Fatman. When's that coming out? Or did it already come out?
It is already out. It is, I think, in the theaters, and it is on digital download or streaming or movie at home, theater, whatever. You got to rent it or buy it.
Okay. And what'd you think of Fatman?
I was shocked. It was a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be.
Well, yeah, because Mel Gibson's in it. He's not much fun, generally.
No, well, it was a pretty good little action movie.
Okay.
But I thought there was going to be more comedy in it. There wasn't as much as I would have liked. But it's definitely a completely different take on Santa Claus. That's for sure.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that makes sense then. The Fat Man. I wasn't quite sure where we were going with that.
Well, do you want to hear the synopsis? I can read it off for you real quick.
I love it.
So, a rowdy, unorthodox Santa Claus is fighting to save his declining business. Meanwhile, Billy, a neglected and precarious 12-year-old, hires a hitman to kill Santa after receiving a lump of coal in his stocking.
That's awesome.
So,
And does he? Does he kill him?
Disgruntled. I don't want to ruin the end.
Oh,
Lisa.
okay. All right. Well, I probably won't see it, so I was just asking. But you're probably right. Don't spoil it for everybody else.
I'll put it this way: the assassin who has a vendetta himself against Santa Claus because Santa neglected him as a child as well, does hunt him down and does find where his workshop is, and it is not in the North Pole.
Oh, it's not, huh? You can't give that information
No.
away either, right?
No.
Okay. All right.
So I highly recommend it. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. Again, I wish there was a little bit more comedy to it, but it was surprisingly a lot better than I thought it was going to be from the trailers.
Okay. How many reels you going to give it, Maddie?
I give it 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. Wow, that's amazing.
I know that's kind of crazy because it's not really well known and it's kind of goofy and silly premise, but it is a very unique, fun, different Christmas movie.
Well,
I guess is a good way to put it.
I've never heard that Christmas storyline ever before, so that was a great way to put it.
Neither have I.
Yes. Okay, so are you giving something away, or are you going to
Yes.
give it? Oh, you are. Look at you, Santa Matt.
I have an incredible giveaway this week. It's a brand new film. It is dropping at home and in the theaters. It is starring Tommy Lee Jones and Aaron Eckhart and Catherine Winnick. It is a thriller. It is called Wander. Here's the synopsis. I'll be quick.
Okay.
After getting hired to probe a suspicious death in the small town of Wander, a mentally unstable private investigator becomes convinced the case is linked to the same conspiracy cover-up that caused the death of his daughter.
Wow. Okay, yeah. A thriller for sure.
So it is the opposite of a fun-loving, hilarious Christmas
movie.
comedy.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, what do people have to do to get a copy?
I really liked last week. I loved hearing what movies people like for their Christmas viewing time. So we'll just keep that going. Keep sending us your favorite Christmas movie, and I will send you a copy of Wander.
Very cool. And the email address is
Nerds
at
realfilmnerds.com.
realfilmnerds.com. Ah, got it.
Yes, ma'am.
Very good.
You got it.
Very good, Matt. You have a great week. We'll chat with you next Monday on what station?
The wintry Magic 99.1.